Okay, let's come back to where we were. हस्ती के मत फरेब में आ जाइयो असद, आलम तमाम हल्का है दामे ख्याल है. Right, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're going to take a look at 4 verses, and these are incredibly important. So, we've got a verse here from Surah Al-Baqarah, from Surah Hajj. Just put this here for a moment. No, put it over there. Right, so وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّن خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Okay, Surah Al-Baqarah 110. Now, it's interesting because the topic is broader than just saying salah and zakat. But it goes on. Allah says that وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ, but then وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, and it goes on وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم. Now it's interesting, you see, what you give forward. What does giving forward mean? It can mean many things. You've got in the sense, you've got in the ukhrawi sense, that what you do, it betters a life to come. But you've got it right here, giving forward to people. Giving forward, making a positive difference. To give forward. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. See, the verse says, and what you give forward, تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. It is for yourselves ultimately. Min khairin, from goodness, tajiduhu inda Allah. You will find it with God. What does that mean? That it's not going to waste. Don't think it goes unnoticed. Tajiduhu inda Allah. You don't need social media. You don't need to catch it on Instagram. You don't need to make a video about it. And you don't need to, but then you feel, yaar, nobody noticed. Noticed, man. Nobody noticed. وَمَا تَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ. But, I did this. Yes, you did it for you. See, Allah, it's very real. It's not saying, oh, you did it for you, but that's okay. You can do things for you. You can help people because it also helps you. People don't see it. تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. And then Allah said, Inna Allah bima ta'maluna basir. You see? Doesn't matter if people don't see, Allah sees. See, that certain things are so common sense, but it's such a reminder that, first of all, altruism, positivity, charity, humanitarianism, helping, giving forward, an element of it is for you. But there's nothing wrong with that. You see, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you something. If you want to increase in happiness, you want to, because this is the elixir, the holy grail of our times, happiness. In search of the holy grail. Happiness, it doesn't come to you. I mean, it momentarily comes through acquisition, products, materials. It does come, but these are spikes. It spikes up, spikes back down. Okay, these things. This is called acquisition spikes of happiness. So you are happy. You've got a brand new car. You're over the moon. But it will last about 2 months, 3 months, and then it will standardize. It'll turn normal again. Okay. You've purchased something new. You've made a certain amount of money. It is slightly different if you were below the poverty line and made money. The happiness usually is of a varied nature. But if you were okay before, but you made an exceptional amount of money, you do become happy, but it's maybe about 3 months to 6 months. And there's been longitudinal studies on this that have followed several participants or subjects that were lottery winners, for example. And so people think, well, okay, well, what makes me happy? You see, it's not these things. Even finding a spouse, finding a partner, finding a wife, a husband, falling in love. Love, man. The love, man. The love. It makes people happy, man. But it's a spike as well. So, so how does a person actually raise happiness? How do you raise it? Because it can be done to a certain extent. Now, we do have a default setting, whatever our default setting is, but you can train yourself to slightly raise it. Let's say there's a well-being, a happiness, an affectometer, which measures happiness. So 1 being miserable and 10 being, the ceiling of happiness, let's say. Now, let's say if people are at 5 by default, nothing's happening, you're at 5. Or maybe some people by default are at 6. They're slightly more happier and some people may be the other way. Now, genetics may play a small part in that, but you can train yourself to kind of increase that happiness to some extent. You can go up a notch, maybe 2, you understand? Now, how do you do it? Because yes, if you got a brand new car, you might jump up to 10, to 9, but then 3 months later, you're back down. This happens through meaning. Okay, because you've got the acquisition spike versus the rising horizon of happiness. The horizon rises gradually, but it's sustained. So it's things like meaning in life. And a huge part of meaning is going to be internal as well, understanding. This is why people who've done things like travel the world, they end up with a higher level of happiness sometimes, because it's not the travel. See, it's the meaning they got when they met people, learned their stories, developed a human connection. Now, counterintuitively, this is counterintuitive. One of the things that surprisingly, it's like God's cheat. God has hidden a cheat in this, and it's counterintuitive. It's hidden in plain sight, but you're not going to guess it. And that is, it's hidden in giving. That happiness is hidden in giving. And you think, what kind of logic is that? How can giving make you better? I mean, you'd rather getting should make you better. But no, that's the secret. It's in giving. And it's hidden just in plain sight. So these verses that we see now, look at this second verse that we've got here as well. In Surah Al-Hajj, you've got it there, verse 35. You've got الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم والصابرين على ما أصابهم والمقيم الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Okay. Now, those who, when God, you see, now this could be when God is mentioned, people say. But another way of looking at this is when God is remembered in their presence. You see what happens? Wajilat qulubuhum. It has an awe-striking effect. Why? Because they have a connection. So now check this. وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُم. Now, why is صَابِرِينَ mansub? Why is it not صَابِرُونَ? Those of you that are Arabic buffs. Because it ought to be, just see, it ought to be وَالصَّابِرُونَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُم. But it's mansub because akhus. This is being al-takhsis. This is being specified. It's like it's being highlighted. وَالصَّابِرِينَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُم. Those who are patient with difficulties in life or afflictions. Why? Because think about it, life is going to be full of these things. And the more patience you have in the face of any challenge in life develops that meaning. It adds to your story. وَالْمُقِيمِ الصَّلَاةِ. And people who, they have this connection through prayer, that they have that spirituality to them. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ. See, and it's sealed. Sealed with what? مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And with what we have given them. You see, now it's interesting. It begins by Allah saying, it could be that, and those who give. But مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ. It's a reminder that, remember, this actually was bestowed upon you. It's a gift. Give forward. Reminding you, and I think it's so amazingly done, because it could just say those who give from what they have, but it's reminding, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So you've got these, and tying in with that, you've got these verses right here. وَإِذْ تَأَذَّنَ رَبُّكُمْ. Now this is bringing us straight to, from Surah Ibrahim, that remember or be mindful when Allah said, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. You know, if I can tell you to just memorize one, like a mantra that you always have just there in the mental backdrop, have this. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. That if you are grateful, I will increase you. وَلَئِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. And those who transgress, and you have to remember the truer meanings of kufr, not just kufr in that sense, a deeper level of the transgression, that then the consequences are harsh. But remember, just the لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. And you know what's interesting? This verse, I thought I'll share this as well. Surah Baqarah 263. قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن صَدَقَةٍ يَتْبَعُهَا أَذًى. This is so important, and it's going full circle to where we began. وَاللَّهُ غَنِيٌّ حَلِيمٌ. See, قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ. Sometimes you can't give. You just, or maybe you can, but it's difficult. And giving doesn't just mean money. Okay. It could be help. It could be a kind word. It could be a smile. It could be assistance. It could be compassion. It could be empathy. It could, giving forward, it could be an opportunity to someone. Giving forward is not just about money. In fact, that's just a small part of it. It's a mindset. See, it's a winner's mindset. It's true, like you'll find people who are truly, incredibly successful. Many of them will have this quality. It's a mindset, you see, to give forward. But at times we won't be able to, or we won't want to. Let's just be honest. Yeah. We won't want to. It could be to just can't be bothered, or we don't want to. We feel, I don't. قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ. Allah says, brings it up, Surah Baqarah, that look, قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ. Just pardon me and say a nice word instead. Ever so sorry I can't. somebody, they call you, oh, listen, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? It's putting you out too much. You're like, I'm sorry, I'm a bit caught up. My apologies. Can you give a hand with this? Afraid I can't. My apologies. A nice word, kind word, polite, and you just seek pardon. قول معروف ومغفرة خير من صدقة يتبعها أذى. This is so much better, it mentions, than trying to do a good deed, but following it up with some form of hurtful words or harm. You do something and you say to them, oh, I did this for you. Or maybe you do something, maybe some kind of I don't know, or even this, you're about to give someone something, but let me record, let me make a film and put you all over, blast your, maybe people are okay with it. Maybe some people ain't. They feel humiliated that, I'm this person that, this social media gratification, this object of that. So better than that, you helping the person and trying to, hey, me. قول معروف ومغفرة. It's better that you don't do it rather than it cause harm. Remember, many of the ulama would say as well that, even giving zakat to someone and not telling them that it's zakat. Why? Because it would, just in case it kind of hurts them, to think, bloody hell, I'm a charity case. It could hurt someone. So this is the kind of what you're seeing in this ayah, that قول معروف ومغفرة خير من صدقة يتبعها أذى والله غني حليم.